Hello and welcome to the From the Finney podcast with me, Jake.
And me, Ollie.
We're without Dan again this week as he's still away in New York, but this is the first of what is hopefully going to be a weekly podcast post-game throughout the rest of the season. So yeah, hope you enjoy it. Hi Ollie, how are you today? You have a good party last night?
Hi, Jake. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. Mum's little birthday party last night and then went into town, so just about recovered now.
Happy days. Kept you away from the meltdown.
Kept me away from
media.
From the post game meltdown, yeah.
Happy
So I've
days.
not even had a look, to be fair, but to be expected. We were getting promoted when we signed Bayliss, now we're getting relegated. So.
Yeah. Typical social media meltdown, I think, but hey ho. Should we cover the Millwall game then? It's probably the best place to start.
Yeah, just a little overview.
Yeah, to be honest, and I think it's being glossed over quite a bit. In the first half, I don't think we were that bad at all, really. We moved the ball well. Obviously, I think we had 60% possession come half time.
Yeah.
We had the best chance of the half. I think Maguire had another decent effort that was maybe so wide of the far post.
I think everyone's talking about Alan Brown's, but I think Maguire's header from about 6 yards out.
Yeah, that went flying over.
Should have gone in, yeah. Should have scored that as well. So, no, I played all right first half.
The thing is, if we scored early on in that game with some of the chances that we had, people will point to no shots on target, but they were. I'd argue that they were better than half chances.
Yeah, probably should have scored a goal in the first half.
And if we score in the first half, it's a completely different game then.
Yeah, we had a couple of set pieces as well, which didn't quite fall for us, which could have easily. So yeah, then they turned the ball quite a lot, and then they won a lot of second balls. Then they've had one real chance in the first half, ball from Tom Clark, and then
I think Davis could have done a little bit better.
I mean it was going backwards, so it was.
Yeah, it was difficult for him.
He's caught it well on the volley, and then Rudd just got to save it. Rudd just can't let that go in.
He's got two big hands to it and pushed it into the side of the net.
Yeah.
As a keeper, they always tell you to push it away from goal.
Yeah, not into the goal.
Not into the goal.
Yeah, that was a bit of a blow. But no,
I think it's just disappointing that yet again we're what probably without that would have finished 0-0 and would have been a decent. On an opening day, you'd have taken a decent point, I think, there away from home.
You'd take a 0-0 there, I think, on the first day.
And again, it just comes down to the keeper yet again.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's the last time he actually pulls on the shirt.
Fingers crossed.
But yeah, it has cost us again. It's annoying. It's really annoying, actually, and I'm sure Neil will be annoyed that nothing's been done on that in that respect. But
we'll come on to that stuff later.
Yeah. But no,
I think we kind of looked a little bit lost when Gallagher went off. I know he's 34. He's going to struggle to get through games, and he's going to need to be managed this season. But some of the balls he was spraying about in the first half, especially switching play and taking it out to Barkey on the right.
Yeah, he had 3 or 4 lovely passes, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot, when Gallagher goes off. Alan Brown drops a bit deeper, and he can't really progress the ball, Alan Brown. So it's all up to Ben Pearson then. Then we didn't really get the ball wide quick enough because they narrowed off a lot. And then obviously it was up to Clark and Hughes to provide the width, which they didn't really do.
Yeah.
And then they just went man-to-man with Bowden when he came on, and then with Green. And Stockley were nothing in the air. So it was just a bit of a mess the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
There wasn't much structure to the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was a really weird end to the game in terms of from a watching point of view.
You can't say that we threw the kitchen sink at it, can you?
No, well, that's what I mean. They just seemed so blasé. Like they could have played on for another half an hour and they'd have never looked like creating anything.
Yeah, I think Millwall, to be fair to them, did shut the game down really well.
Yeah, I think you got to credit them.
People forget there's two teams, isn't there? People forget that.
I think, again, going back to the social media meltdown, people are saying we weren't good enough, blah, blah, blah. But credit where it's due to Millwall. They, like you said, they shut the game down. They managed it really well. And I think Neil Harris said after the game, we never really troubled their keeper at all in the second half.
Yeah, and that was a disappointing thing as well, because obviously Frankie Fielding went off injured. You'd have thought just a few pot shots from 30 yards or whatever, just anything. But just even when we were sort of 20, 25 yards out, there was a lot of passing around the edge of the box, but there's no real sort of need or like willingness to get a shot off. So it was a strange second half certainly, but obviously Green's just come in. Bowden wasn't risked. You've got Nugent to get back to fitness. Obviously Bayliss, and then Fisher, who will provide a lot more attacking intent than Clark.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
but you got to remember as well, Fisher's missed a good chunk of the pre-season. I know people say, well, he got decent minutes toward the end, but when you got a full season in front of you for one game, it's not worth risking a player, is it?
No, obviously not. And to be fair to Neil, I thought before the game I would have started Clark anyway, because I thought he'd suit that physicality.
Yeah.
But as it happened, our fullbacks probably had the most space in the game because of how they set up. But it's just one of those. I think Neil probably look back now and think he might have got it wrong.
Yeah, I suspect he probably will.
It's a 1-0 defeat at a very tough venue, so there's no need to get sort of worked up about it.
No. The amount of people I've seen saying, well, we're going down, we're shit, Neil needs to leave, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I've seen someone today, because we've lost 1-0, saying he wants Neil to go because he doesn't acknowledge the fans and stuff.
Yeah, which, shout out Deep Dale Digest. He
shut it right down.
Shut that right down. And to answer the person that tweeted us on Twitter saying, what's your point here? I've not replied on Twitter because I can't be asked getting into a Twitter argument. But if it's not clear enough
for that.
yeah, shout out Dan. If it's not clear enough what my point is, then I don't know what to say. I shouldn't have to explain something as simple as that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And just one final thing as well. I can't see Millwall losing many games there this season.
No, they'll be tough to beat. I mean, look, the cup run they went on.
Yeah, they've got a good little side there now. They've made some good signings. Both centre backs are absolute giants. Got two good central midfielders.
Flipping big is Jake Cooper.
I think he's 6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, I knew he was tall, but there was when I was watching the game yesterday, there was a shot where they had a corner, I think, and it panned to I don't know if it was Stockley or Alan Brown.
Yeah, no, it was Brown, and I thought to myself, Alan Brown's not small, is he? And just look at the size of him. So yeah, they'll be very hard to beat there, and probably win a lot of games there as well. So there's no embarrassment really in losing there. Just one of them games.
No, definitely not. I think again, I've seen it on Twitter. I think the positive that you can take from yesterday is that there's still another 40-odd games to go. So
yeah,
defeats are going to happen. It's just annoying that it happened on the opening day of the season. But as well, I think we've won an opening away game for something like since like 2009 or 2011, something like that. So
in fairness, I'd say about 7 or 8 have been at home, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
But yeah, no, see, it's hard to win away on the first day.
Definitely.
It was a tough start. That just need to get a win on the board ASAP.
Don't want to end up doing.
You don't want to sort of go. You don't want to draw with Wigan and then have to go to Swansea and then Stoke come and then you might get 4 or 5 games and then it gets a bit tense.
Gets to the point that we were in last season, which we don't want.
Yeah, but Wigan game should be good anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
What did they do yesterday, by the way, Wigan?
They beat Cardiff, I think, 3-2.
Did they? So that'll be another tough game. But yeah, we should have obviously 3-4 players available for them, and I'm interested to see how we set up at home tactically.
Yeah, well, there's talk again, we'll come on to him properly in a bit, but Bayliss getting some minutes and then they're expected to be involved. So
yeah, there's a game on Tuesday, isn't there?
Yeah.
Bayliss will play, probably Green, maybe Bowden, Fisher.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot more attack-minded, definitely.
Yeah, you'd hope so anyway.
So I can just see here you've got a bit in your notes about how Millwall only completed 222 passes.
Yeah, so
and how...
sort of tactically about yesterday. Obviously, we set up with Potts. It wasn't 4-2-3-1, it was 4-1-4-1. Galley was sort of on the left, but in a free roll. Potts and Brown number 10, Barkey on the right. Exactly the same lineup actually as last season, but Bauer played instead of Story.
I thought he did quite well.
Yeah, it was class, to be fair.
Bit of a nuisance in the opposition box.
Good in both boxes. Played a few nice passes. But yeah, in February, they played 396 passes. We pressed them to death. They played it short. They played in a little 2-4-3-1 build-up. 2 centre-mids dropping in.
Yeah.
And the full-backs pushing on. Pressed them to death. Got it in behind Murray Wallace into Barkey, and we had a lot of joy. So obviously Neil was thinking they'd do the same yesterday. But they only played 222 passes, so they played half as many passes yesterday. They turned it to Smith, who won a few first, but they won basically every second ball.
Yeah.
The Thompson, the lad in midfield, the little Ben Pearson lookalike, was very...
Yeah.
And then just couldn't you can't press a team who just throws it forward, so...
Well, they played half the passes that they did compared to last season, so that tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
Yeah, and I'm thinking Neil Harris was obviously anticipating what happened in terms of our lineup. So then when they've not had the ball yesterday, they sat deep, they narrowed off. And when they had the ball, the full-backs didn't move, so it was literally a back four. And then, so we had 64% possession yesterday compared to 51% in Feb. And we just couldn't do anything with the ball because of the three attacking midfielders that we had. Very different sort of profiles to what you'd want in a team with 2/3 of possession. So you can say Neil probably got it wrong there. And also the full-backs was the issue as well.
Yeah.
They were really narrow. Our front three really narrow behind Maguire. So then you're relying on Hughes and Clark, and it didn't really happen.
It's not Clark's game, though, that really, is it?
No, I mean, in terms of physicality and stuff, yeah, but you're relying on the fullbacks to sort of get crosses in. Just didn't happen. And then probably we lost the pattern of the game in the last 30. Bowden came on, Stockley, then Green came on. Brown moved back. It was just a bit of a mismatch. But now, just tactically, just got it wrong simply. But that can happen.
He's going to get stuff wrong. He's not perfect. That's why he's managing Preston in the Championship.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. And we only, if you count Pearson as a creative player, which I probably would, in terms of how he passes the ball forward.
Yeah.
It was literally him and Galley were the only two creative players on the pitch, I'd say.
Yeah, no.
From the start. So
I'd go as far as agreeing with that. And like we mentioned before, we lost a little bit of something when Gallagher went off.
Yeah.
And so Pearson sort of reverted back to that sort of ratting around and tackling and breaking up play sort of role.
Yeah, and then they went.
Because there was a couple of times, wasn't there, where they were looking like they were going to maybe hit us on the counter, if you will, without it being a proper counter attack.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I think Neil's reliance on certain players as well. Like, there's obviously been a few questions raised about Brad Potts. He clearly didn't look up to it fitness-wise.
No, I was trying to think before. I think was the Newcastle game his first pre-season?
No, did he not
play? Was it Fleetwood or
Fleetwood?
Yeah, I think he played less.
Accrington.
Yeah.
Then he did a full 90 against Newcastle.
Did he? Yeah.
Which felt like at the time it felt a bit like Neil was kind of forcing the point a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like he's barely had any pre-season.
No, well, he hasn't, has it really? he
But
didn't
he's
feature in the
obviously one of Neil's favourites, and Neil trusts him to do a job. But he was so far off the pace yesterday.
Yeah, he was completely ineffective yesterday.
Yeah, and to be fair, I thought Brown's been off the pace as well. Brown doesn't look fully there yet. Didn't really affect. Wasn't his type of game really. Didn't really affect the game. And Barkey as well.
I thought, to be honest,
sharp.
I cut Barkey a bit of slack. He was probably one of the more, him and Maguire, I would say, in the first half, especially, were the more the brighter of the sort of front four.
Yeah, definitely. Barkey doesn't really suit a game where he can't run into space.
No, I was just going to say Wallace had the beating of him pretty much every time.
Yeah, Wallace, when he's one-on-one, he's quite a good defender.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but there are options there. It's just there's no point having the options now if Neil's just got his favourites. Because he knows what that 11 yesterday is one that he's gone back to quite a few times.
Yeah.
Obviously without Bauer, but that sort of 4-1-4-1 pressing is sort of his go-to system, really.
Maybe it's him trying to make a point with the players he's got and saying, "Look, I want these different players in." You just don't know, do you?
No, I'm going to mention Bayliss, Bowden, Green, and Harrop. They're sort of 4 different profiles.
Yeah.
And then obviously Fisher, and then if you bring Max Lowe in, that's another different profile. So you're looking at 2 split squads, really, in terms of pressing or in terms of breaking teams down. But you just got to hope that Neil doesn't just stick to the pressing side of it. But we'll see anyway when we get into the home games against teams who are going to come and sit in. You'll see more then.
Yeah.
But as a more general point as well, I'd just say that we're so narrow. It's crazy.
Especially with the 3 and behind.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you need Max Lowe would be a big signing, and then Fisher on the other side.
Yeah.
Which is probably why.
Show what he can do getting up and down.
Yeah. Fisher's underrated carrying the ball forward, I think.
Yeah, Fisher's an odd one. Like when you compare him to Potts, who probably had a similar amount of minutes over pre-season.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't know what was going on in Neil's head. He might have thought, like you mentioned, that maybe he felt Clark was better suited to the physical side of it, with them having a big lump, who they were likely to just go route 1-2, which they did more often than not.
Yeah.
Maybe he felt that Clark was more suited to that as opposed to Fisher, but Fisher's shown in the past one-on-one he's good, which you could argue that if he was there instead of Clark, Mahoney wouldn't have got that ball off. And
yeah,
it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? But he just if it wasn't a tactical decision, then you have to question why he's felt Potts was fit enough and Fisher wasn't.
Yeah.
But
I thought Fisher might get on for the last 30.
Yeah.
But no, it just didn't happen. But
I suppose we never really know, will we?
Yeah, you'd hope that he gets minutes on Tuesday and then he's ready to sort of come in on the weekend.
I would imagine he will.
So would I. So we'll just have to see with that one. But yeah, just one of them.
Yeah, I think going up the other end of the pitch then, there's been a lot of questions asked about Sean Maguire. And whether he's up to playing up front on his own.
I don't know where this has really come from. I'm a bit confused about why this has come about, really. I'm not going to go back into tactics again, but I am a bit. But yesterday, playing the long balls up, he wasn't meant to win them headers. Like, we were meant to win the second balls.
Yeah.
That's just a way of getting up the pitch.
That's why you have the runners in and around him.
Yeah. But we just didn't win the second balls. But in terms of Maguire, the one thing I'd say is I think he has lost maybe 5% of what he had.
Yeah, you can see. I don't think there's any question that. I mean, whether he's lost it or whether he's choosing not to play that way anymore because of his hamstrings.
Yeah.
But he, like you said, he does seem to have lost a little bit of his get up and go and his quick.
I'm not sure how I think it's not his pace. It's like his
his
just
drive. He was
sharpness, maybe. Or
yeah. I mean, he's played well in pre-season.
Yeah,
overall,
I love Maguire. I do love him.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him playing up front at all. I think he's good up front. He's good off the left. But if you play it as you did yesterday with 3 runners, you're not going to get the best out of Maguire.
No.
The one thing I'd say is as well, do you remember in the first half he dispossessed Romeo?
Yeah.
He beat him. He got into the box and then Romeo got back. But 18 months ago, I think Maguire would have taken the shot on a couple of seconds.
Yeah, he looked to keep hold of the ball a bit too long. I think there was a pass on, or he could have got a shot away as well.
There was a pass on to Potts, so he could have had a shot, but that might just be sharpness in his mind as much as anything.
Maybe it's frustration as well.
Maybe, I don't know, but I don't have a problem with Maguire up front.
No, I don't. What the other thing that I'm not particularly keen on, because I've never really seen anything to point towards it working, is people saying play Stockley alongside him or play Stockley in the central role and Maguire off to the left. It worked well with Hugo, but Hugo is a completely different player to Stockley.
Yeah, I don't really understand the association between Stockley and Hugo.
No, they're massively.
They are very different footballers.
I think.
What I'd say is about Hugo, he brought the best out of Maguire because he created so much space for Maguire.
Yeah, exactly.
Stockley doesn't create space really. He sort of, I wouldn't even call him a target man. He's a big player, but he's just a penalty box striker for me.
Yeah, he's good with his little flick-ons, and he's good with his tidy little finishes and his headed finishes and all that sort of stuff. The first goal he scored for us was against QPR, being a prime example.
Yeah, lovely
that
finish.
Snapshot finish. Whoever it was pressing the QPR defender, forced him into a mistake. Ball fell to Stockley, first time finish, goal.
Yeah. And when he came on yesterday, he didn't really win anything in the air.
He didn't affect the game at all yesterday, but people still clamour for him to be played up front. And
don't get me wrong, I think he's going to be a decent option.
Yeah, he's a useful player to have.
But the thing is, there's a difference between being direct and sort of chucking it from 50 yards out, or getting in quality crosses. You might as well play him if you're going to get quality cross into the box. You'll play him. But he's not going to be sort of a Hugo who can bully defenders, really.
Yeah, run into the channels, take a defender with him, create a bit of space.
Yeah. And another thing I'd say is also about Maguire up front. In terms of Bayliss, I think that'll sort of help Maguire.
Yeah.
His sharp movements on the blind side of the centre-backs.
Yeah.
In terms of ball carrying and then running off the line, I think that could be something to look out for.
I have a feeling that this season's partly going to be quite an evolutionary one in terms of how Neil goes around setting up for a bit like last season, if you will, when you could see that at a point he had like a clear away team and a clear home team. Yeah. And he would change it around based on the opponent. I think with these new players that are coming in, it's going to be much the same. And I think Neil's probably at the minute feeling like he's got little to no option in terms of how he sets up and how he uses certain players.
In the piece that I wrote last week, I wrote about
that really, really good one.
Yeah, the amazing one that everyone should read. What was it called?
What was it called? The Chance of a
Lifetime. Yeah, very emotional.
I still completely agree with. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, but it is. There's a lot of people, like, just so much negativity that we're not going to be anywhere near the top 6. Blah blah blah. The exact same team, pretty much, bar Bauer, took us to joint 6th with Aston Villa in March.
Yeah, what I'd say about that piece is what you've just said there about tactical flexibility.
Yeah.
So you've probably got 4 or 5 systems that he's going to be comfortable with. Bayliss adds just another option in there. Bodin, Harrop, Green, and then obviously you're looking for Max Lowe as a providing the width if he comes in. So there's a lot of flexibility there, and Maguire fits into that. So Maguire can probably play off the left, or he can play up front with different profiles behind him. So no, and then that leads us on to the formations that we were talking about.
And to be
that
honest,
sort of links in.
I don't really see a problem with like you've got in your notes. We tend to switch between 4-1-4-1 or 4-2-3-1 depending on who we're playing. And people saying it doesn't work or playing one up top is negative or it's boring or whatever.
Yeah.
People say. Personally, I don't have a shock. I don't have a problem with it. There was plenty of times last season where we played that way. We were more than good enough in games, won various games. Millwall away last season being a prime example. And shock, imagine that Maguire was playing up front on his own and scored.
Yeah.
Gallagher played a ball through to Maguire that would, from what I've seen of Bayliss in the highlights and things like that from his time at Coventry, that it looks like that's the kind of thing that he's going to come in and provide as well. He's always
that's what I sort of hinting towards. That could be a good partnership from deep. But the main difference between the 4-1-4-1 and the 4-2-3-1 is basically Gallagher's role.
Yeah.
So we'll play with sort of one natural winger in Barkey, and then Galley will just be tucked off in like a free role.
Yeah.
To just create the extra man in midfield. But Galley is sort of the key to how we set up. We sort of set up to accommodate Galley quite a lot. But going back to the one up front, 90% of teams in the league play one up front. Brentford play one up front, probably going to score 80 goals this season. Leeds play one up front.
Scored 3 today.
Yeah, Derby play one up front. Norwich played one up front last season. So it's nothing to do with... People seem to associate the more strikers you play, the more goals you're going to score. But obviously, just does not work like that. For me, it's more of an issue of the three behind a striker. And that'll change, obviously, depending on the opposition and if home or away. So it just goes back to Neil being tactically creative and flexible, which he is, and it's good to watch. So, plenty of flexibility, plenty of different profiles. And Maguire up front is good for me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Better than putting Louis Malt up there. No offence to the lad, but he's just not up to it. And like we said, Stockley's a good option to have. Nugent is probably going to be one that I don't know, he might start the odd game here and there, but I suspect he'll largely be used for coming on for the last 10, 15 minutes of a game, trying to stretch the defence a little bit. Yeah,
and one more thing I'd say as well is I can't see him getting on the bench.
At the minute.
Yeah, because Harrop didn't get on the bench yesterday. Ledson obviously was banned. Ginelli, Nugent.
I think there's no question at the minute that Nugent's clearly not up to speed in terms of match fitness.
But even when he's fit, I don't see. Obviously, we're bringing up a striker in as well.
Yeah,
it's just hard to see him sort of affecting things, but we'll have to see. So I don't know. We'll just have to see with that. But yeah, good options though. Good options.
And it's hopefully not exactly a bad position for the manager to be in, really, is it?
No. So obviously got Bayliss as well to come into the squad. Who else?
I think people have mentioned it a fair bit already, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see Harrop go on loan somewhere just to get minutes, maybe on a 6 month until the new year. The only thing with that is if there's injuries, I don't think you can recall them outside of a transfer window, can you?
No, you can't.
If we end up with a few injuries in the top end of the pitch, then
personally, I'd keep Harrop.
Yeah, so would I. It's one of them that it wouldn't surprise me if it happened.
He's our only true number 10, though. I know Potts and Brown play there, but they're not. They're more number 8s, advanced number 8s.
Yeah, they're not really the creative type of player that Harrop is.
This divides opinion a lot, Harrop. But I'd definitely keep him, and he's a good option for me at home. He's missed a year with an ACL, so I don't know
what people expect from him.
Yeah, pretty much. So
his first season here was stop-start, I think you could say. But it was his first full season in professional football, and then
and he's had a season out.
He's had a full season out injured, so People are judging off a few pre-season games against like Chorley and whatnot and saying, he's not up to it. But he's just spent the last 12 months not playing football. He needs to get match fitness. He needs to get back up to it.
Yeah.
How else is he going to do it other than playing?
Exactly. So the one thing I'd say is obviously, it goes back to this thing again. Neil trusts Brad Potts and he trusts Alan Brown.
Yeah.
So it's hard to ever envisage Harrop starting ahead of either of those. So I don't know. It's a weird one again.
Yeah, you got to remember as well though. Harrop was brought in before Neil came here, so might not actually fancy him that much. But
maybe not. He obviously sees a lot more than we see in training and stuff.
Yeah, obviously.
But no, you mentioned alone. If Bayliss was a number 10, then I'd say Harrop should go on loan. But Bayliss is going to play as a number 6.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd keep Harrop. Probably keep Janelli as well, as things stand.
Just again as an option. It's
just as an option.
Thing to keep him as an option.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that'll benefit him. So that's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah.
Might depend who we bring in. If we bring in a number 9, then obviously that won't affect him. But if we bring in someone who can play wide as well, then he might end up going. But
just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously 4 days left now.
I was just going to say, what we're on now, 4 days to go.
Yeah.
5 o'clock on Thursday.
Thursday, 5 o'clock.
Going to be busy few days. I suspect Peter is going to be travelling the country.
Yeah, he already has been, to be fair. I think he's been in London over the weekend. Oh, obviously he was in London actually before the weekend, so...
Yeah, Thursday, I remember you mentioning something.
Yeah. So deals to be done, obviously.
Well, yeah. Let's hope they can get done. Well, before we come on to all that, we'll have a quick little break.
Right, gonna go and make a brew.
Yeah, I'll go and get a nice little cup of coffee.
Sounds
cool. Right, nice one.
Nice one. Welcome back to part 2 of the From the Finney podcast. Thanks for staying with us. So we've obviously just mentioned the signing of Tom Bayliss, which I believe might be a club record fee eventually, or it might not be. But we're going to speak a little bit about what to expect from him, and then we'll finish off with a bit of transfer talk. So Jake, Tom Bayliss came in on Thursday, I think, or was it Friday? Friday?
Officially Friday, but I think the deal was as good as done on Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Neil's pretty much said the same himself when asked why I wasn't involved yesterday. Said he was at the club pretty much all night, well, late on Thursday, getting everything sorted.
Yeah.
And then obviously he trained Friday morning, didn't he?
Yeah, to be fair, on Twitter, I think this was received more by sort of Championship or EFL accounts rather than P&E accounts.
Yeah, I think the P&E accounts, I reckon, have seen the stuff from the stats boys, if you will. And sort of gotten buzzed from that, if that makes sense.
I can't remember what day. I might have mentioned it Wednesday to you.
Yeah, well, we recorded the pod on Wednesday, didn't we?
Yeah, and you hadn't really heard of him, but you knew how excited I was about this.
And I said it in the group chat to you and Dan. I said because Dan's been quite buzzing about it as well. I think he's mentioned to you in the past that he'd like us to bring him in.
Yeah.
But I said to both of you that I'll quite happily admit I knew next to nothing about him. But if you two are happy with him, then take your judgment, take your back in, and
I'd even go as far to say, probably the biggest signing of probably since we signed Nugent.
In terms of
potential. The first time Nugent, by the way, not last week because that was.
Yeah.
In terms of sort of being a genuine massive signing for the club.
Yeah.
Because me and Dana spoke about it probably a year ago, and I thought there was no chance
Well, you said in the group chat, didn't you, that you expected him probably to go to maybe a top-end Championship club or a Premier League side.
Yeah, because I think Sheffield United were interested, Derby, Villa,
Borough
were interesting, I think. So we've probably beat 3 or 4 teams, but I think it's a sensible move for him. Obviously,
he's pretty much guaranteed game time here.
He's guaranteed to play pretty much 30 games, I'd say, this season. And he knows if he does well, that we'll sell him to a Premier League team.
Well, he only needs to look at Callum Robinson as the latest example.
Precisely. Which is sort of a good thing for attracting these kind of players.
Yeah, I mean, I've some people, again, will go back to, we're a selling club, we never show any ambition. But to be honest, I've not really got that much of a problem. No. As long as when we sell our better players, we go out and adequately replace them, which I know Bayliss isn't an out-and-out Callum Robinson replacement, but he's another youngster that's coming into the squad that has the potential to be massive.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to someone on Twitter, and he said you could potentially sell him for sort of 8 times what we signed him for.
Yeah, I saw that.
In the next couple of years.
Which if he was a club record fee at, say, £2 million,
you're talking 15 million, 16 million.
It's not a bad return.
No. And I've also seen people say Hemmings has only signed him because of the potential sort of fee that he could receive in a couple of years, but that's a very strange thing to sort of accuse Hemmings of doing, if you know what I mean. People want us to sign big players, so we've signed a big talent, and then they're saying he's only signed him because he's going to make money out of him. So can't really win. But
well, I mean, on one hand, you can understand that because Hemmings is a businessman, but that's almost like saying Hemmings has just completely gone against what Alex Neil wants. And gone, this kid's got a bit of potential, so I'm going to sign him. I don't care if the manager wants him, which clearly won't have happened.
Yeah. So there's a lot of parallels between sort of James Maddison's move from Cov to Norwich.
Yeah.
And guess who signed him for Norwich?
Is it an egg who is now in charge of Preston North End?
Yeah, exactly. So it bodes well, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. And then obviously Norwich sold him to Leicester for what, 20 million?
I think it was 25, yeah.
So, if we find ourselves in that position a couple of years down the line.
Yeah, that's how high I rate him, to be fair. I think
I've seen on Twitter some Cov fans saying that some saying he's their best since Maddison, and others saying he's better than Maddison was when he was at that sort of level.
So, plays a bit deeper. So
tell you what, he's a fucking big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good physical profile, which
must be what 6'1", 6'2".
Maybe around 6'1". Very elegant though, the way he glides with the ball.
Yeah.
He's going to play from deep, so he'll be a number 6. He'll. Someone asked me on Twitter as well, will he be Galley's successor? And I think the answer is yes, pretty much.
Which is it's a funny one because it's been a topic of conversation for probably, I'd say, at least 2 seasons now. People say.
I think we might have mentioned it last week. A lot of people have mentioned Harrop, but Harrop is far too final third.
Yeah, he's not that type of player.
I think Bayliss, just looking at his stats, top 10% of centre mids in League One. So he was in the top 10% for through balls, smart passes, and successful dribbles last season.
What are smart passes?
So I don't know the exact definition, but it's like a pass through 2 or more, breaking 2 or more opposition lines, I think.
Right, yeah.
So like a forward pass between 2 or more defenders.
Yeah.
Which are actually quite hard to pull off. And then he was top 20 for passes into the box, 3-ball pass completion, and deep completions. So you basically sign a 20-year-old who's very good physically, who's a very gifted progressor with passing and with dribbling, and you normally get one or the other.
Yeah, but he seems to
get both.
The majority of them boxes.
So dynamic to be able to dribble and to pass at a good level.
Yeah.
And his ceiling's incredibly high. So I wish there was a bit more. I think there was a bit, to be fair, of excitement, but I'm genuinely so excited about this.
Yeah, like I said, I think that excitement was people jumping on the back of what other people were saying, like the big stats accounts and the big EFL accounts on Twitter, like the NTT20 boys or Gab Sutton or Blades Analytic.
Yeah, and then that Rames.
Oh yeah.
I was speaking to him about him as well, and only got good things to say about him. So it's genuine creativity from central midfield, which we don't really have. So
well,
Galley's
Gallagher, and then you could see again when he went off on Saturday we were lacking.
It's a different sort of creativity, though. It's more Galley's.
No, I know, but it's what I'm saying is it's good to have someone else that can come on and hide that.
Yeah, he's going to be more direct as well, so he can. Obviously, against deep blocks, we don't have someone to dribble because DJ he can run forward, but he sort of moves side to side and distributes wide.
Yeah.
So does Galley. He passes through lines, but and so does Ben Davis. They're both on the stats in terms of championship progressive passing. Galley and Davis are both very high, but they don't dribble. Whereas Bailey's now going to dribble through lines. He's going to disorganise compact blocks. So if you add that to your game, see dribbling, and then you got players who can take long shots. Bowden will take a few. Harrop likes a long shot. Brown doesn't mind.
Potts as well.
Potts will have a shot. Obviously Galley. So then you're looking at 2 or 3, 4 ways of breaking down deep blocks rather than just relying on someone like Callum Robertson last season.
Yeah.
So it's a class signing for me. This.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring.
And he's only 20 as well, which is mad.
Yeah, if he can have a good 18 months, 2 years with us, this time in 2 years' time, we could be sitting here on the back of a club record fee for in terms of like what we receive for a player.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mentioned before, I think it'll bring out the best in Maguire, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, Maguire's shown, hasn't he, that he's got the ability to run off the shoulder, and if he's got the service for that, then yeah, I don't see any reason why it won't be a good link up.
Yeah, so that's probably gonna improve the whole sort of attacking lineup.
Yeah.
Just by bringing in one player, takes a bit of the pressure off Alan Brown as well.
Yeah.
So, buzzing with it, and came out of nowhere. To be fair, I only heard about it.
I think you messaged me Tuesday morning.
Was it Tuesday? Yeah.
Monday night, Tuesday morning.
So it came out of the blue. So I'm still shocked that we've got it done, but there we go.
Here we are. I think again it says something about the manager though. If the clubs that were rumoured to be interested in him were actually interested in him, so like the likes of Borough, Derby, Villa, then I see no reason why people would be bad-mouthing the manager if he's managed to go out and convince a player who's that highly thought of in the Football League to come and join us. Like, he's not going to come and play for a manager he doesn't rate.
Exactly, and you look at Andre Green as well, what he said when he signed. Literally every single player we've signed has referenced the manager, basically, as being the key.
Even like the experienced pros as well, like Galley has mentioned at points through last season that even in his long career, the manager's one of the best he's worked with. He's so thorough in terms of his work that he does on the opposition. Obviously, like we said before, he's going to get it wrong from time to time. He's not perfect, but
I think all you've got to do,
experienced pros like that are coming out and speaking highly of him says everything you need to know.
All you've got to do is look at the players that he's coached and compare them to when he came in. So Ben Davis, Ben Pearson, Alan Brown, Hugill, Robinson, even Fisher's improved.
I'd say Hughes has improved.
Hughes has probably. So he's improved pretty much every player. Story.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jamie can't do it with the keepers.
Yeah, it's a weird one with the keepers, but when you've got a manager like that, that's a massive part of why we can sign players like that. And maybe if Max Lowe comes in I'm sure he'll say something similar.
Yeah, I think if he, in fact, we'll come on to that in a bit. I'll leave it for now. But yeah, I think people giving the manager stick are a little bit short-sighted.
Very.
And again, considering we've lost one game of the season and there's like 40 odd to go, it's just, yeah, never mind. Not going to it again, but hey ho. Right, should we just have a chat about some transfer business?
Yeah, let's finish off with the fans' favourite transfer business. Everyone loves a bit of transfers. Yeah, so obviously Josh Earl left on Saturday morning, literally. Oh no, Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon. It was a weird one because we'd announced our starting 11. Obviously, Bolton had announced theirs.
Yeah.
I think we tweeted saying like, "What's going on here?" And then within 2 minutes, the club tweeted Josh Earl has gone on loan.
Yeah, that's the first announcement I've seen when you announce a player by naming them in the starting lineup, which was quite a different way of doing things.
Unusual.
And also, as a little aside, about 10 minutes before the lineups, it came on Twitter that Brentford had made a bid for Max Lowe. So the actual timing of Earl going out is a bit suspect.
It seems a bit
you'd have thought
short-sighted.
I personally would have thought that we would have brought a left back in first.
And then let him go.
Because you can loan him out until the end of August.
Yeah, I mean, from Earl's point of view, obviously it's good that he's been given the opportunity to go out on loan and get some minutes, but then I think it's safe to say things didn't go off to the start that I think probably he and the club would have hoped for.
Understatement.
I've not actually seen any highlights. Well, I have, but they've literally 30-second highlights of the 2 Wickham goals. But people were saying online that he started up front, which, considering we've left him out to get experience as a left back, is an odd one.
No, I saw that, but he was replaced by another left back when he came off. So I don't know where that sort of came from, but obviously came off because I don't know the details, but I think it was ankle ligaments or something.
Yeah, it doesn't sound particularly good. Maybe a ruptured Achilles or something similar. For his sake, hope it's not that bad, and he can get back playing pretty soon. But
yeah, literally the worst start you could imagine.
Which for a lad of his age and his potential,
just needs to play games, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just needs a consistent run, and I think dropping down a level is probably good as well.
I mean, the actual Bolton move was a bit weird just because of the whole situation around Bolton, but so just to play games in League One, because if he's going there, he's going to play every week.
Yeah. Just to play games at that level. The Bolton one is a bit weird considering that Tranmere were one of the other clubs supposed to be in for him. It's probably a bit further than Bolton to travel to from Preston, but like you said, considering what's going on at Bolton and the uncertainty around the takeover, the club, the players being paid, although I'm led to believe we're paying all of his wages, I think it'd be a bit remiss of us to expect Bolton to pay him anything.
Yeah. I mean, but the actual, it shows a bit of ambition from the club to want to loan him out and bring someone in.
Yeah.
So develop him as well. Develop 2 players at once. So
nothing wrong with developing your own talent.
Yeah, and I think it's clear that he was probably needed just to play.
I think that's all it was. It didn't help him being in and out the side last year.
Nah, so just a full season would have been ideal. Obviously, no idea how long he's out for, but if he can even just play sort of 20, 30 games, as many as
I think if it is a ruptured Achilles, I'd be surprised if he plays this season.
I don't think it is an Achilles. I think it's ligaments. Is that a different thing?
If it's ankle ligaments, that's pretty much your Achilles, I think.
Is it?
Oh, I could be wrong. I'm no.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a few medics listening, so just let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that. But yeah, obviously, so that was one outgoing.
There's probably going to be a few more in the next 4 days. I think we've mentioned it on here before. There's talk of not Josh Earl, Louis Moult going out.
Yeah, You'd expect him to.
Yeah, there's supposed interest from Salford. I think I saw something on the forum earlier today that his agent is happy with the Salford move. And again, I could be completely wrong with this. I'm going off memory, but is maybe perhaps holding out for a deal at a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, I said on the pod last Thursday, I said that I'd be surprised if he went to League Two because I think he can play in League One, but
yeah, I think he's probably is better than League Two, to be fair.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's going to Salford because they won 3-0 yesterday. They look like they've got a good squad.
Yeah, I watched a bit of the game. They looked all right.
Yeah, it was on Sky, weren't it? Yeah, so that wouldn't be a bad move for him, but I think he'll get done either way. I don't think he'll be a Preston player come the end of August. But it might depend. Might depend on bringing a striker in, but it might not do. Obviously, it looked like Fraser Campbell was
as good as done
in the building pretty much.
An odd one that. Like you said, it seemed like he was pretty much done and dusted, and then it just seems to have gone completely quiet.
Yeah, it's weird because he's not been linked with anyone else, though.
Nah.
So
maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's holding out for a better deal from another club last minute. You don't know.
Yeah, so that's enough. And I think because he's a free agent, though, we can
still sign him outside of the window, can't we?
Yeah, I think that can drag on for a bit, so that might drag on.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's maybe holding out for an offer from abroad, maybe like Turkey or somewhere like that.
Do you think?
Possibly, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know anything. But there's if he's about money, then there's potentially some money to be made. I mean, Jay Bothroyd's still playing in Japan. I don't know why I'm saying Japan.
It's Indonesia, isn't it?
He's playing somewhere, and obviously
I think it's in Indonesia or something.
Yeah. So obviously there's still money to be made. It's Japan. He plays for.
Is it?
I'm assuming the J1 league is the Japanese league.
Japanese, yeah, I think it is.
He plays for Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo. So if there's any Japanese people listening or fans of that club, I apologise if I got it wrong.
Yeah, that was very bad.
But yeah, no. Like, point in case, there's obviously still some money to be made for players that are still able to play abroad. So perhaps he's holding out for an offer from elsewhere. Just don't know.
I think more likely is that he's waiting for another offer from a championship club.
Yeah, probably.
But no, you'd have thought if that was going to get done, it would have been done now.
Yeah, again, you'd think Neil would have won in
and then obviously you're running out of options because Nemetcha's gone to Wolfsburg yesterday. Great move for him.
All those people saying they wouldn't want him back and he's shit and he wouldn't do anything for us. I think you don't get a move to Wolfsburg if you pants.
No, great move for him. So he's gone. There's pretty much no one else apart from Narky Wells.
Yeah. Sounds like the summer of 2018 all over again.
Yeah, obviously I think there was interest and I think he wanted to come last summer.
Yeah.
Still at Burnley.
We linked with him consistently, weren't we, last season? I think we were even linked with him in January at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the January before.
Yeah, 2018.
2017. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
2018.
Either way, whoever's listening knows what I'm on about.
Yeah. Again, he's the type of profile that Neil probably wants. Like, he's had a good 6-7 years at this level.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's not too old. He knows where the net is, etc., etc. So maybe that's one to look out for because he's never going to play for Burnley.
I think that's the other key thing as well. He's at Burnley, so it's not like he's a million miles away. He's obviously spent majority of his time at Huddersfield. So if he's settled in sort of like the north of England, then you'd like to think it's probably at least an option.
Apparently, he wanted to come last summer as well, and then he obviously ended up at QPR. Might have scored 7 or 8 goals. Didn't set the world alight at QPR.
No, I think you think he got 13 goal contributions at QPR.
Yeah,
season, 7
goals,
goals, 6 assists.
6 assists, yeah.
Which is...
I mean, I'd take him over the likes of Louis Moulton, Nugent, obviously, but it's... You're being linked with Hugo, and then Fraser Campbell, and then you go into Narky Wells. So
it's a clear progression, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, when you're being linked with Hugo, you're being linked with an absolute animal. And then Campbell's got a bit less about him physically. And then Narky Wells is pretty much got nothing about him physically. So it would be a sort of a departure from what I thought Neil was looking for. But again, it's just running out of options. Because
I hate to say it, but it's starting to feel, especially with the forwards, like we're starting to scrape the barrel a little bit.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what Neil wants, but going all the way back to last summer, Kiefer Moore was linked. Physical profile, mobile, strong, tall. He can move. Same as Hugo. And then
Hemmings bolt at the £2 million.
I actually heard that something different happened to that, but it's...
Well, we'll not go into that then.
Well, apparently Barnsley just... I think we had a bid sort of agreed, and then they just doubled it overnight, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Didn't we have like $1 million and a half agreed, and then they just...
Yeah, so I can understand why. Yeah, but he's off to Wigan anyway, so he might play on Deepdale on Saturday.
Yeah.
£4 million he's going for now, which sort of shows why it's so tough. And then obviously again last summer, Ivan Toney rejected us apparently. But
Peterborough.
Yeah, similar profile again, mobile, quick, strong, tall. So you're going from that, and then you go into Narky Wells. He's probably 5'10", no real pace, no real mobility, but a very good finisher. So
probably similar to Nugent.
Maybe. But
yeah, I think there's two key areas for me that absolutely have to be addressed this week, and that's the striker that we've been crying out for all summer, and obviously the goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper's massive.
I think if we only bring one more player in before the end of the window, I think it has to be a keeper.
Yeah, 100%. I said it again last week on the pod. You can just forget about top six if you don't sign a keeper, and things like yesterday are just why.
It just happens too much, far too much.
It's not even every couple of months. It's literally on a weekly basis. Like, it's so poor. And then he flapped at a corner yesterday, landed in the 6-yard box. I think Pearson just got there, but it's just
early on in the game as well. There was I don't know if it was a cross that was played in, and Clark left it for him, and he never came for it. And
Clark gave him a mouthful.
There was no one around him, so if he'd have had a shout, Clark could have brought it around and moved it back up the pitch. But he ended up putting it out for a corner.
Yeah.
And turned around and just gave Deck a gobful.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because he half moved for it and then just stopped. And I just don't understand how a defence can feel confident knowing that a keeper like that is behind them. I mean, I think one thing that's not spoken about from that Newcastle goal is there's all the people defending him and saying it was a wicked free kick and all this, but in one of the videos I saw, I think it's either Alan Brown or Ben Davis, turns around and again just gives him a gobful of abuse.
Yeah. It just has no sort of presence about it.
None at all.
So, yeah, obviously, I don't know, we've been linked with Fraser Forster, but you'd sort of think that was more in hope.
Yeah, I think that's a big if. If we can get him in, then I think, in my opinion, it's a statement from the club and the owner. But it's a big if at the moment. I can't see it happening.
And then there's also Joe Hart again, might crop up again.
Do you know what? I won't be surprised if that ends up happening toward the end of the window.
Yeah, maybe.
Burnley have just signed their Peacock Farrell from Leeds. They've got a Burnley fan at work is of the opinion that Pope's going to be the number one over the next few years. I think he said he's just signed a new 5-year deal, so And obviously with Heaton going out and Pope signing that, it tells you everything you need to know. Sign a young up-and-coming Northern Ireland international goalkeeper. You fail to see where Hart's going to get in, and someone at his age, you'd like to think he's going to want to play. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen, then I'd be surprised if we've not inquired about him again.
Probably inquired about every keeper under the sun.
Probably.
And then obviously you got the likes of just the under 23 keepers, really.
Yeah, well, one of them was Freddie Woodman, who has gone to Swansea.
Yeah. So.
And then there's the ones that we've mentioned in the past. Dahlberg at Watford. Mark Travers is at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So you'd like to think there's maybe a couple of options out there still, but
if the worst comes to it, I think we'll end up signing one of them and take a gamble.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty clear to Declan that he's not wanted at the club.
Yeah, and then obviously you'll probably have to move him out on loan.
Well, the fact that the club would be willing to move him out on loan when it's the last year of his contract and lose him on a free at the end of the season, because I can't see him, if he goes out on loan, I can't see him signing.
No way.
He'll be like Maxwell. If he goes out on loan, that'll be goodbye.
Yeah.
You could argue a waste of nearly £1 million.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's just something that needs to get sorted. And then the left back situation, which you've mentioned.
Yeah, it's a saga now, isn't it?
A little bit, but
through no fault of our own, I would say. Well, I don't know, because obviously I don't know the goings on.
Don't know the details, but
like you said to me yesterday, you'd think Brentford wouldn't just have a pot shot of a bid. If you're a Brentford fan, you'd like to think that they'd have had some assurances that they can get the deal done.
Yeah, you don't bid for a player if you're wasting your time.
No.
So
not unless, and I massively doubt this, but not unless there's someone that works at Derby who's friends with someone at Brentford who said, put a bid in to try and get Preston to up their asking price. That probably will not have happened at all.
No, I don't think so. But they've been linked with that Max Clark today, I think, who is English.
Yeah, out at Vitesse.
Yeah, he plays in Holland. So that's maybe they've
moved on.
I don't know actually what's happened there, but I'm still surprised anyway that Derby are letting him go, Max Lowe.
Yeah, isn't he an England under-20 international as well?
Yeah, he's got by far their highest ceiling for a left back. They got Malone, who's a very good Championship left back, but he's 28, I think. They got Forsyth, who's 30 plus.
Yeah, they've just spaffed £10 million on Christian Bielik, haven't they? So
yeah, might need a bit of cash.
Yeah, they've made no secret of the fact that they're a bit cash strapped, so maybe they need to balance the books somewhat.
Yeah, and then so you hope if you sign him, that's sort of going back to what I said before about fullbacks providing the width.
Yeah,
he's a genuine attacking fullback, I think, and he's quite mobile. So that'd be sort of an option as well. Because Hughes, as good as Hughes is quite limited in terms of open play.
Yeah, I think attacking. Just mentioning Hughes as well, I think he was lucky to stay on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah, he was. He clipped his heels, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's not. You don't see players get a booking for that.
If he wasn't on a yellow, he'd have been given a yellow for that. So yeah,
weird ref today. I think he let quite a lot go for both sides.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought the penalty, Barkey had a good penalty shout.
Maguire as well.
And I thought Maguire's was nailed on. Neil never made anything. It just pushed him over.
Looked like a clear push in the back, didn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we got away with one as well. I think it looked like Gally handballed it.
Yeah, Gally did definitely handball it. I think.
He does that quite a lot,
He
weird,
pushes the boundaries.
Chest control, top end of the arm, shoulder.
Yeah. But yeah, Hughes was definitely lucky to stay on.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're looking at Fisher playing left back next week if he was suspended. Obviously, unless Lowe came in, but yeah.
Well, you'd like to think that them being linked with that lad from Vitesse is maybe a sign they've either moved on or we've done a deal. Yeah,
it is a risk from the club, though. It is a risk.
Yeah, especially with Earl looking like he's going to be out for a while.
Well, he can't play for us anyway until Jan. Anyway.
True.
So you can't have Hughes as
the other thing that the interest in a left back says to me is that perhaps the club or the management staff don't actually see Earls, and we've mentioned it before on Twitter and on here, don't actually see Earls' long-term future as a left back. I know when Davis was coming through that he was touted as a left back, and then obviously had that loan at Fleetwood and played on the left side of a back three.
Yeah.
And obviously became the player that he is now.
Yeah, I've thought the same about Earl, to be fair. I've thought it for quite a while. So maybe
that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the thinking with the club is get Earl out, get him a run of games, bring in another left back, and then when he comes back in, he's
sort of a left-sided
another left-sided option in the centre of defence
as a long-term Ben Davies successor.
Yeah,
when we sell him for 20 million. Yeah, maybe. Might not be a bad shout. But I think he played left back. I don't think he played up front yesterday.
Yeah, it seemed like an odd one that. Seemed to come out of nowhere. So is there anything else that you've heard or anything you've seen on Twitter that I can't think of anything that I've seen?
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
The names that we've mentioned.
One thing I'd do if I was the club, I'd just go and pay for Ivan Toney. I'd just go and pay 3 mil or whatever for him, which is never going to happen.
No,
but I just would. I think he's going to move next summer for quite a lot of money to the champ, and I think his value is just going to go up.
Yeah, if we can get him.
And he's exactly what we're missing. So
he scored yesterday, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored a header. He's a good player. I'd just go and sign him, but it's not going to happen.
Only thing is with Peterborough, you're dealing with their owner, aren't you? And
you are, but he's all talk, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest, they've not really had many big sales. It's a bit of a myth.
I think the last one was.
It might have been Gale.
Yeah, Dwight Gale.
And that's going back a few years now.
Yeah, probably 5 or 6, if not more.
We signed Hughes for not much money last summer.
Yeah, and again, he seemed to speak quite highly of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be. I fear it's going to be a long 4 days from a social media point of view.
If I was guessing now, I'd say we'll bring in 2.
Yeah, I think 2. I think it'll be a mix of a goalkeeper and a left back, or a striker and a goalkeeper, or any mix of those.
Yeah, be one of them. But you always get like the odd surprising loan or something in the last couple of days. So
yeah,
anything could happen. But
things come up, don't they? You know, clubs get desperate to get players off the books, and deals can be done.
It'd definitely be interesting though. And then I think that'll take us to sort of 6, 7 signings for the summer, which would be a decent summer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think one final thing to address. Obviously, he's better placed than us when it comes to knowledge from the club, but I didn't understand Dave Seddon the other day tweeting about Andre Green coming in and almost being an instead of Campbell, because they're just completely different players.
I think he must have been told to say that or something.
Yeah,
because that made no sense to me.
Didn't make any sense at all, and again, I think it reaffirms our stance from maybe the first couple of pods, where we've said that it just seems like he's. I hate saying it because it's a shitty thing to say, but he just feels like he is just a mouthpiece for the club. And again, like we said about loads of players who we've maybe said aren't good enough or aren't up to it, probably a dead nice guy, but just.
You've not just compared Dave Seddon to Louis Malt, have you?
I think I might.
Yeah, but no, the Andre Green thing made little to no sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not even like Fraser Campbell could have been a wide player, because that's just not the type of player he is.
He's literally never played there.
No. But I'm sure he'll be kept busy anyway in the next few days.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's sort of poured cold water on that one, didn't he? So that's. If he says something like that, it's probably going to be true.
Yeah, you've got to take him into it.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll just see.
He's probably better placed than us for getting stuff from the club. Unless they're wanting to keep things quiet, you never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
These transfer windows work in funny ways.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of days anyway. 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, like I said, it could be a long 3 or 4 days from a Twitter point of view. Definitely. But it'll be fun. Be a good laugh.
Yeah.
Loads of interactions going on.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good, to be fair, for the all interactions and stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to our 704 Twitter followers, I think it is now.
Yeah, not bad going, that.
No, hit the 700 mark yesterday before the game. Put a little tweet out, which worked well for us.
Nice one.
But yeah, no, I think we'll call that a podcast, I think, mate.
Cool.
Yeah, so thanks for listening to this episode of the From the Finney podcast. We'll be into double figures next week. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and our thoughts on the Millwall game, Ollie's tactical breakdown of things, and obviously all the transfer stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah, let us know, by the way, if you like the tactical breakdown, because if you do, I'll do it again. And if you don't, I'll pretend it didn't exist.
Always more than happy to do that again.
Yeah, it's my favourite part of football.
He lives and breathes numbers.
Yeah, sound.
So yeah, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher and all the other places. If you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be great. I'm just going to say that we've currently got a higher rating than the official club podcast on there at the minute, but I don't know how long that's going to last after I've said that.
Love it.
So shout out to those of you that have left us a review on there. And like I've just mentioned, if you aren't already, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Just search for From the Finney and you'll find us. And we're going to be publishing loads of cool stuff and knowledgeable content throughout the season on the website as well. So if you've not already checked that out, then just go to www.fromthefinney.co.uk and have a read of some of the stuff, especially Ollie's piece last week. So
cheer yourself up and have a read.
Yeah, take your head out of that negativity. But yeah, cool. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Jake.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit, mate.